Welcome to Good for Bitcoin, a weekly show recorded live every Friday, where we recap the top events of the week and talk about everything that is good for Bitcoin. If it's built on Bitcoin, then it's good for Bitcoin. Let's get started.
Content shared on this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and do not reflect the official policy or position of any other agency, organization, or company. We encourage you to conduct your own research and consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.
Well, hello, everybody. Happy Friday, and welcome to Good for Bitcoin, your weekly pulse on Bitcoin innovation. And Kate and I were just talking before the show. It has been a busy week for me. Kate, how was your week? Kate would get muted and not be on the show for some reason. Hopefully she'll return, but yeah, it's been a busy week on my end. I was chatting actually on the phone with my mom the other day, and I was talking, and it feels like I have like 5 different jobs right now, for various things that are going on in the ecosystem. Of course, we got Good for Bitcoin every week. We've got Vibe Watch that I've been working on. I have my work at SoFi that I've been doing, some personal stuff too. So yeah, it's been kind of a crazy one. Hopefully Kate will rejoin us in a minute. I can get started with some of our public company news. As always, got to start off with that. So first off, Strive, they bought 1,110 BTC. They now hold 21,356 Bitcoin. We also saw Empery Digital, they sold 100 BTC and they have 1,179 BTC left. And that's kind of it for Bitcoin buys and sells this week, which is pretty surprising. Not a lot in one way or the other. So we'll see if Kate is rejoining us here. Hello, Kate. Yes, I can hear
Literally,
you.
as soon as I heard you say like, "How's your week?" my screen just went black, and I was like, "All right, here we go."
Yep. Is that like a metaphor for the week? Or?
I guess it's a metaphor for the week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Week has been pretty good. It's like another chill week in Bitcoin for sure. Nothing like notable has happened, but we have a couple stories to get into. How has your week been?
Yeah, well, we were talking before the show started. Yeah, it's just been really busy on my end. Lots of spinning plates. But yeah, I agree. It's kind of another week. It's been the same kind of vibe the past few weeks where just doesn't really seem like Bitcoin, despite Bitcoin's price going up, it doesn't seem like there's been a lot of Bitcoin news happening. We also have Bitcoin Asia is happening this week, I believe.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
maybe we'll see some news come out of that. There's been maybe a little bit here and there, but nothing too crazy there either.
No,
So,
nothing major.
yeah, everyone's still, I guess, just heads down building, and they weren't ready maybe for this like little pop in Bitcoin's price to kind of capitalize on it. I don't know. But I already went through the only 2 companies that bought Bitcoin this week. We can talk a little bit about some of the companies that are planning on buying Bitcoin this week, I guess. Starting off with public company Alpha Modus, they announced the completion of a 3,170 Bitcoin PIPE financing worth $254 million. So this BTC is not on their balance sheet yet. The company signed the securities purchase agreement on August 26th, just the other day, and is still advancing the deal. The agreement targets closing within 12 business days of signing. So I'd imagine that we will discuss them on maybe next week's show or the following week's show once they have actually made that purchase and bought Bitcoin. But a new company, I think, entering the mix, which we always love to see.
Nice. And then we have a Singapore-based public company, Genius Group. They announced their plan this week to buy 827 million in Bitcoin over the next 5 years. So significant investment there.
Yeah. Everyone's planning to buy Bitcoin. We got Capital B, French company, announced a 21 million euro capital raise to also buy more Bitcoin. And no buys or sells from Strategy this week, again, which is maybe a good thing because they've been selling Bitcoin more than they've been buying lately.
Yeah. You have here that they did buy back another 136 million of STRC, and they added 1.59 billion to their USD reserve.
Yeah, and that's crazy. 1.59 B, that's billion with a B. That's a lot of money that they're like continuing to raise. And I was looking into it, and it's a little bit ironic, like as a Bitcoin company that really cares about like scarce assets and money printing. All of these buys from them, because they're not selling Bitcoin, how are they funding it? Basically, what they're doing is they are creating new MSTR shares and then selling them at the market. It's like an ATM sale is what that's called. So they're basically money printing, and then people are buying it, and then they're using the proceeds from that to well, not buy more Bitcoin, but to kind of shore up their reserves, I guess, and buy back more STRC. But it's kind of funny because shareholders, I guess, just don't seem to mind this. MSTR is up over 40% just this month, which is pretty crazy rise in their stock price. And STRC is also like $97 or $98. So that's pretty much recovered as well. So it's pretty crazy that they've been able to raise so much money and just kind of right the ship after, STRC especially crashing down to, what was the lowest? It was like $77 or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, pretty nuts that they were able to accomplish that in such a short amount of time too. It was maybe like a month or two ago that they that happened. So crazy stuff.
All right. Let's get into some of the news.
Getting into news. So first one is important, especially if you are running a Lightning node. This is like very important for you. A critical vulnerability was discovered in Lightning Core. So basically anyone that is running a Lightning node is urged to take their nodes offline. That doesn't mean necessarily shutting off your node, but taking them offline. This is, I guess, to prevent other nodes from force closing channels with your node, which is just like time and money spent with fees to force close channels. So basically, taking your node offline means that it's just like not transacting, or it's like not in transaction mode, but it'll just like continue to keep up with like the network. Not much is known about the exact vulnerability yet, other than the fact that there is one. That I guess the vulnerability is under like a 2-week embargo, so devs can kind of sort things out and get things patched. But if the solution is to take your nodes offline, I think it's pretty safe to assume that it could result in lost funds. So probably really important that you act on this as quickly as possible. And if you are running a Lightning node, take action on that, because it doesn't sound good.
Yeah, I read somewhere that this was another like AI generated vulnerability. So I think it was like the Bitcoin Red team, the one that we had talked about in previous episodes, like Rob Hamilton, and they've just been running like AI assisted audits across a bunch of Bitcoin repos, and I think that this is one that they found. So it's kind of like like a double-edged sword. Like, it's good that things like this are being found. It also makes it feel very fragile. But yeah, good advice.
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess a good thing that nothing has been knock on wood, like on actual like L1 Bitcoin. But this is probably the closest that we've gotten to like an actual Bitcoin vulnerability if it's affecting Bitcoin Lightning. So scary stuff. I don't know if also they've I guess they just haven't released a lot of info yet, but I'm curious if like this is just a theoretical, vulnerability, or if it's been actually like exploited. I guess we'll have to see in a week or two once we find out more information on it.
Yeah. All right. Then we get over to the Coinbase side of things. They have released, well, I guess they released it a while ago, but their crypto-backed mortgage product is live nationwide, so you can hold your Bitcoin, buy a house. Basically, how this works is U.S. borrowers can now use Bitcoin as collateral for a down payment without selling or taking margin calls. So you have to pledge your Bitcoin, which is, I think, 250% of the down payment loan, which is a pretty sizable amount.
Yeah. 2.5 LTV. That's pretty high.
Yeah. And so you put that up as collateral, and then the structure is just a normal Fannie Mae conforming first mortgage, plus a second loan against the coins. There's no margin calls because the price drops. So and your coins sit at Coinbase Prime. This is available for Coinbase One members, and you get a 1% rebate at closing, which is capped at $10,000. And this, I guess, went live earlier this year, but this week was kind of like the nationwide, wider rollout.
Yeah. I think like anybody now can maybe just log on and get the process started. I think before it was maybe just like a closed beta or like an open beta. But yeah, we did announce this a few months ago, like the first one had gone through. But now it's just, rolling out a little more broadly.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense if like you use Coinbase for everything, like everything is in one spot, but there are just like quite a few options at this point that, I don't know. I guess what's good is that there's a lot of options depending on your risk tolerance, how decentralized you want it to be, who you want to be holding the funds. But I guess if you're pretty loyal to Coinbase, like this is a cool product.
It's pretty interesting, like no margin calls just because the price drops. It kind of just sounds like the risk model that they're using, like that's why it's 250%, right? Because if Bitcoin does go down, the price goes down like 50%, they're factoring that into, to their, whatever their models that they're using to calculate risk when they're giving you that loan. So pretty interesting, like especially when you think about mortgages, they tend to be like 15 years or 30-year loans. The price of Bitcoin in 15 years or 30 years, who knows what it's going to be? It's probably going to be more than it is now, just based on history. So, you become a forced holder, I guess, for that long until you pay your mortgage off. But maybe that's a good thing. Next up, so Pakistan has gotten clarity before the US. Pakistan has released a full licensing framework for crypto exchanges, custody, lending, derivatives, and other virtual asset service providers. Licensed firms will also face requirements covering conduct, prudential standards, technology, and anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing compliance. Existing virtual asset service providers must apply for this no objection certificate by the 5th of September, which is very soon, or they have to stop and cease operations. The regime also introduces safeguards requiring licensed providers to keep customer assets separate from their own and prohibiting the lending or pledging of customer holdings without written consent. Licensed providers will also gain access to Pakistan's formal banking system, including segregated client money accounts. So it seems pretty comprehensive. They're getting, fully on board with crypto infrastructure, exchanges, all sorts of things. They're called VASPs, virtual asset service providers, in the country. So pretty cool to see. Hopefully we get some more of that in the US soon, as we wait for clarity.
More clarity.
Yeah.
No, this is cool for Pakistan. Nice.
I wonder if Manib had any part of that, because I know he's made some visits there.
I'm sure he has. Yeah. He was part of the blockchain. I forget what it was called, but
some
part of their blockchain
over there.
council.
I remember he posted some things about that a while ago.
Awesome. You want to tell us about this next one? Has Bitcoin been quantum resistant this whole time?
Yeah, so we actually asked this exact question back in April, which is also really crazy to think. I feel like we were just recently talking about this, and it's already been however many months since April. Pretty wild. Basically, just as a refresher, so Starkware Chief Product Officer Avihu Levy had published a white paper that makes Bitcoin transactions resistant to quantum attack. The downsides are that these transactions are non-standard, meaning most miners won't accept them, and they cost about $150 per transaction. But they would work now. Like you could submit a transaction today on the blockchain and get it on, on a Bitcoin block today on mainnet. So just this week, Starkware engineer Tomer Gelati, he continued that work. Since that white paper was released, so it's been a few months now, to kind of reach the final stretch of a working transaction. And then this week at Bitcoin Asia, they shared the news that they had submitted it through Marathon's Slipstream service, and it had been mined on mainnet. I have just a quick clip here. It's like a 1-minute clip that we can watch of them on stage talking about it.
And yesterday, we were able to take this beyond a proof of concept. Last night, we submitted the first QSB transaction on Bitcoin mainnet, and I'm very excited to announce that as of, I think, 5 hours ago, that transaction has been mined by Mara Slipstream and is live on Bitcoin mainnet. This is a monumental moment. Right? This is the first post-quantum resistant Bitcoin transaction on Bitcoin mainnet today. It required no soft forks. It required no hard forks. It required no core protocol upgrades. And it's live today. And so just to really paint the picture of what this means for all of you here and what this means for us and what this means for your businesses, right? We've built essentially a parachute, right? As we're flying through this quantum storm, we have a parachute in the airplane. Or as we're facing the threat of the impending quantum nuclear war, we have a doomsday bunker. That's what this product is. What this product is not, it is not a cure for quantum. This product is still opt-in. Coins that have lost their private keys or coins that are lost from circulation, those coins cannot be moved into an address with QSB enabled.
Yeah, so a lot of important points there. I think there's a good clip that kind of summarizes it pretty well. But yeah, it is like an active thing. So like you as a Bitcoin holder would have to essentially like lock your Bitcoins into this using this type of transaction. So you could, make your own Bitcoin safe. But for things like Satoshi's coins, for example, it doesn't affect Satoshi's coins. So somebody could still, get a hold of those or any number of coins, like they said in the clip, that are kind of out of circulation, but still, obviously, so they're still on the blockchain. Something could happen to those. So yeah, it's not a solution for quantum, but it's a solution for your own personal Bitcoin custody, I guess, if we do have some crazy quantum event and need to act quickly to, to secure that Bitcoin.
Yeah, I guess it's nice that there's at least a solution that doesn't require a hard fork. So
Yep.
Not long-term thinking, but at least there's something. So yeah, I guess that's a good takeaway.
Yeah, I think we haven't really talked about quantum in a few weeks. I think the last estimate that I had was like 2029 was like kind of like the day that you should, or the year that you should have kind of like ducks in a row, which that's not too far away. As we were just talking about how it's crazy that it's, been months since April already. We just talked about that.
Yeah. Until then, you just have to survive Cold Card and Lightning and all the other.
Yeah. Maybe just take out a mortgage and chill.
It's funny.
Let Coinbase deal with it.
Yeah.
Some quick headlines. Yeah, to wrap out the week, you can take the first one.
Cool. We have Wall Street Journal is reporting that JP Morgan is considering launching their very own stablecoin. Who knows?
If you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Yeah, it'd be cool to have another bank on board. SoFi has one. I guess that'll be the bias that I say there. So SoFi was the first bank to have their own stablecoin through SoFi D, but yeah, everybody should have stablecoins. I guess makes sense.
You get your own stablecoin. You get your own stablecoin. Everybody.
It's pretty cool because at least like the way that SoFi does it is it's on chain, right? It's a stable coin. So you can withdraw, you can deposit, and then once it's on SoFi's platform, you can do, SoFi banking things with it. But if you just want to like hold it like self custody, you can do that too. So kind of just gives you like a little bit of the best of both worlds in terms of like CeFi and DeFi.
Nice.
Pretty interesting.
Awesome.
Next up, HashKey Cloud, Asia's #1 staking provider, was announced this week as another institution participating in Bitcoin staking on Stacks. So another big
huge.
institution getting on board.
Huge. Yeah, I think so. Manib is in Hong Kong this week and made the announcement at the HashKey event, which was pretty cool. But they are huge. They have some big numbers. They operate across a lot of networks. They have like over 1 billion users around the world, and a lot of money staked with them. So that's a pretty big win for Stacks and for them too. You know, obviously it's just like a perfect fit kind of partnership.
I think what's cool about this one compared to like the Nakamoto one is like when Stacks talks about, oh, institutions are getting on board, that doesn't mean that there's just like some rich, you know, institution that is just like putting their Bitcoin in and like making more money. That means that there's institutions that are, you know, maybe building services that are passing on this staking yield on, you know, to their customers. That's a big one, right? So, you know, this is just one example of that, but you can imagine in the future, like exchanges, like other, you know, all sorts of other providers offering similar services. So that's pretty cool.
Exactly. Even just like, you know, apps that have their customers Bitcoin on there. Just like there's so many opportunities that will eventually, you know, people will want yield. Like you said, it's not just like a one person with a lot of money. It's like, there's just so many services that are continuously getting developed.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool.
Yeah. It's also cool because they are like a staking provider, all of their customers or all of their users, they already know what staking is. They already participate in staking. They probably also already have Bitcoin. So it's just like a perfect fit for somebody like them.
Yeah. And then we have our last one. This is coming from Galaxy Digital. They were reporting that last week, Bitcoin's rise was the single largest weekly gain by dollar amount in Bitcoin's history.
It's pretty impressive.
It's very impressive, and you don't realize it. Like, I wouldn't have thought that, but it's crazy.
It is kind of funny. I was thinking about it the other day, just like, it's just based on like how long you've been, you know, in Bitcoin, that even though it was like such a big rise, like for me, and it's probably for you too, like it was like, I guess, big, but it didn't feel like a monumental thing, right?
No.
But if you had gotten into Bitcoin like a year ago, oh my God, that it just must have been incredible like, to watch that happen. So it's super interesting that that Bitcoin just has that effect where eventually you're just like, it went up. Of course it did. Like, whatever.
Just getting numb to it.
Yeah.
Especially like usually the fall is usually not a huge time for Bitcoin to have an appreciation in price. So I guess we're still summer, but
yeah, it's true. Yeah. So do you think it's a fake out, or are we up from here?
We're up. We're only up.
Up only. All right. Let's go.
Let's go.
Cool. Well, I think that wraps it up for the week. Kind of another somewhat slower week in Bitcoin news. But you know, we can't control the news. We just talk about it, right? So
there you go.
Thank you everybody for tuning in. If you are listening, give us a review, give us a comment. Let us know that you're listening. We know we have listeners out there, but we don't hear from you that often. So that's my ask as we go into the weekend is give us a comment. Let us know where you're listening from, or I don't know.
Yeah,
we want to hear from you. But yeah, go catch all of our episodes on goodforbitcoin.com. We stream live every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and on X and on the website, of course. So thank you everybody for tuning in. We will see you next week and have a good weekend.
Awesome. See you guys. Bye.